So as we try to get into the NBA season, look, I don't know if the thing's going to happen or not. I believe the NBA season is going to happen. We will see. Time will tell. People are starting to ask me, who you got winning it all? And I'm rolling with the Clippers to win it all. I would love for my Lakers to win it all. But if you're asking me a different question, slightly different question, who do I believe has a good chance to win it all? Like if I added every element that we'll have in Orlando, what teams out there, the team that I would say, okay, this makes the perfect sense for them to win it all this year? People, it's James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the Houston Rockets. Okay, so let me just tell you guys a few things here. What has been the one kryptonite of James Harden over the last few years? He's gotten into the playoffs and he's lost to the Golden State Warriors. Will Harden and the Rockets be taking on the Golden State Warriors this year in the play? Oh, no. Steph Curry's out with injury. Klay Thompson's out with injury. The Warriors they were in tank mode all year. They won't be in the postseason. They're done. So we don't have a Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets matchup. Another thing here. James Harden, his body has been broken down by time the playoffs. I mean, literally been a shell of himself. I mean, I don't care how many points James Harden averages in the playoffs because he can still get his 30, 35 points. The problem is to get the 35 points, he'll just take 50, 55 shots if he's got to. So he hasn't been efficient in the playoffs. He's not the most efficient guy overall, but he's definitely nowhere near the efficient guy that he is in the regular season. Nowhere near that guy, whatever you think about that guy. Well, he's had about, 3-4 months off by the time this thing gets back going. So he won't be broken down. Speaking of James Harden's body, apparently he's lost at least 15 to 20 pounds. I saw an image going around of James Harden a couple of weeks ago. He looks great. He looks like he's been taking his quarantine serious. He ain't getting that quarantine 15. He looks like he's been putting that work in the gym. Salute to that brother. He's going to be ready to play basketball when it's time to play ball. Speaking of James Harden, his teammate Russell Westbrook always is in great shape. Russell Westbrook, look, we don't talk about Westbrook and how he's one of the top 3, top 4 athletes of the last 25 years because LeBron James is the guy of this generation and because Derrick Rose won an MVP, and I feel like Derrick Rose was he literally he was the only guy in 4 years to take an MVP away from LeBron, right? I just think that Derrick Rose moment sticks with people, and the fact that his knees gave out on him. I think we talk about his athleticism a little more than Russ, and I don't get that one because Russ, for the most part, remember, he didn't have any problems, many major injuries in the NBA until Patrick Beverley reached for his knee going into a timeout, and it messed his knee up. From there, he's had a couple of issues, but overall, Russell Westbrook hadn't had those self-inflicted wound type of injuries we've seen other guys go down with. This dude is as durable an athlete we've seen in quite some time, always available for his team. So now Harden will join Westbrook in the durability component because they're both going to be in phenomenal shape. What's another thing that's gotten to both Harden and Westbrook in the postseason? The crowds. Gosh, man, you can really get to James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They'll deny it, but I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. A good Utah fan base has gotten a Russ. Harden hadn't had the struggles with Utah necessarily, but definitely that Golden State fan base has gotten a Harden over the last couple of years. I mean, the guy, and then they get in their own heads, right? When the pressure brews in the playoffs, I've seen James Harden and Russell Westbrook just struggle even in their home buildings. But when that pressure just mounts to win a game, I've literally seen some of Harden's worst performances in pressure games. I'd argue he's had some of the worst games with for pressure stakes, like an important game 6, a winner go home game 6. Remember against San Antonio a few years ago, I think he scored 10 points against San Antonio at home in Houston. Russell Westbrook has struggled. That infamous last game against the Utah Jazz a couple years ago with Paul George, very bad Russell Westbrook. We've seen it from both of these guys over the last few years. Now they're together, and they're going to be in a bubble in Orlando. There won't be probably no fans at all, definitely not many fans. If we're playing pickup basketball, okay, that's a different conversation. I'm not calling the NBA when it restarts pickup basketball, but damn it won't be too far off from it, right? There are not 5 other guys in the league I want in a pickup basketball situation over James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Them dudes can go get you a bucket in a pickup setting. I'm just saying, when things break down, I want James Harden and Russell Westbrook in this type of scenario. No fans. Also, they're together. These guys have pretty much been the only superstar that each other has respected, right? Meaning, I know James Harden had Chris Paul, but for me personally, I just didn't see the admiration and respect for Chris Paul's game there from James Harden night in and night out. When it was all said and done, James Harden would dominate that ball, and he would go get James Harden a bucket, or at least die trying it, right? In regards to Russell Westbrook, I didn't see that trust in Paul George that I needed to see down the stretch. Paul George was the MVP for that OKC Thunder team much of last year. But when it came down to postseason, Paul George's shoulders were kind of banged up. Russell Westbrook went right back to what he knows, and that's Russell Westbrook. So these guys got each other. Obviously, what's going on in the league. And another thing, let's not forget, right before the season ended because of coronavirus, they went out and made a move. Remember, they traded Clint Capella to the Atlanta Hawks, and they went and got Robert Covington, a shooter, and they were pretty much going 5 guard to forwards. Really, it was just pretty much guards. Robert Covington was as big as that lineup got at certain times in the game. Let's not forget that. Look, guys are going to be out of shape. This is going to be a quick turnaround. You're asking a lot of these athletes. I know they get paid to do this, but you're asking a lot of these guys to get in-season mode without the proper training camps and protocols that they probably usually put their bodies through to start a season. Robert Covington, I can guarantee you this, and I don't know Robert Covington personally. Salute to TSU, that Nashville, Tennessee area. I guarantee you, Robert Covington has still been shooting the basketball. If he ain't did nothing else, I don't know if he's lifted some weights. I don't know how much cardio he's been getting in. I guarantee you, Robert Covington still has been getting some shots up. And when he gets about a couple weeks of practice, he'll be ready to go. Do not sleep on this Houston Rockets team. By the way, I've been one of the biggest critics of the Rockets, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, over the last few years. If it was under normal circumstances, no way I would have picked James Harden and the Houston Rockets, Russell Westbrook and the Houston Rockets. I just don't believe in them in the playoffs. But under this situation, with everything that's going on, playing in a bubble in Orlando, if you're asking me who's going to be some of the most focused athletes out there, James Harden's going to see this opportunity. It's a reason why he's putting that extra time in getting his body right. There's a reason why. Trust and believe. James Harden loves having a great time going out. And with no clubs been around the last few weeks, there's a reason why James Harden has put that extra time in. He sees an opportunity. After the game, who's going to be more focused than Russell Westbrook? He's one of the most focused athletes now. Guys talk about having that mama mentality. The athlete that I've seen the closest to that mama mentality pretty much has been Russell Westbrook. That's why he's one of Kobe's and Michael Jordan's favorite players of all time. Do not sleep on that Houston Rockets team. Look, put it like this. I don't want my Lakers playing them. I do not want my Lakers playing Houston. Not in this setting. Nope.